What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Eclectic Gaming Your Reactions. This go around, we got the sound of the Yorkshire English Dialect, numbers, greeting, story, and sample text. This is one of the accents or dialects that was in the 30 accents for the UK. Y'all had to translate it for me. Like a couple of you were nice enough to actually translate it because I asked. Uh, I didn't understand a word. It was the guy was talking about milking cows in the early morning when it was cold. So I seen this, was like, let's take a look, shall we? So here we go, the sound of Yorkshire English dialect, numbers, greeting, story, and sample text.
The Yorkshire English. Numbers.
1. Owen. 2. Dwayne. Dwayne. 3. 3. 4. 4. 5. 5. 5. 6. 6. 7. 6.
See, now that seis, like uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. So it's about like the same as the six in the Spanish language almost. That's interesting. It's interesting that how that's like that.
Aim. 8. 8. 9. 9. 9. 10. 10.
Greetings.
Hey up. Alright. Alright. Now then. Alright. Alright. Erata. Arata. Erista.
Do what? Arata? Where's how? I don't understand how you get that for that. That's wow. Holy cow, dude. It's like a whole different language. But even the alright, alright, sounds almost like all right, but errata, that's like a whole different. Holy dude.
Arista. I'm alright, ta. I'm alright, ta.
Oh, okay. So that I got. So I'm I'm reading some of this a little bit, but still, even that's so instead of like I'm right, the elongation of some of the stuff.
Now then. Alright. Alright. Erata. Arata. Erista. Arista.
See, that I don't quite get how you get how are you, but I understand it's a regional thing or it's a dialectal thing as far as like I guess this is a lot of the older from what I've been told from the other video because this would sound like something that you would hear in the other video from the older fella. So if this is y'all let me know in the comments because I'm thoroughly confused at this point. Thoroughly confused.
I'm alright, ta. I'm alright, ta.
And see that I could get is I'm fine things. I'm alright. Sounds like it could be I'm alright, you know? I'm alright. However you want to take and say it. So I mean that's okay. Yeah.
And you. And thee. And tha. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good evening. Good night. Good night. See you later. Ta-ra.
Okay, so from this point on, cool. I mean, because even the King James has the word "the" in it, so you know, a lot of folks here read the King James version of the Bible done in the Old English style. So the yeah, cool. Completely get that. The rest of these you can understand, but the arit errata that no, I don't understand how you can get how are you from that. Again, that has to be like so like regional or something. So, holy crap.
See you later. Ta-ra.
The wren.
When I were a bairn, Wren's family used to have a nest at Thord Lathe. One day, mother and father went out fending for some to eat, leaving young'uns being sends. But after a while,
Wait.
father
Hold
came
on,
back
hold
up
on,
and
hold on.
young'uns being sends.
So that is translated to this. The Wren's family used to have a nest in the old barn. One day the mother and fathers were out hunting for. Okay, well, I get the Wren part out of this. And I might have to re-listen. I might have to hear more of this again because again, it's just some of the way this is said is just so different. Like lathe for barn. I've never, for me, a lathe is like something you take and make something on. Like you got the lathes for different machine shop type stuff. So that's completely like that's crazy. It's interesting that that's used. Wow.
Wren's family used to have a nest at Thord Lathe. One day, mother and father went out fending for something to eat, leaving young and
Fended for okay. I get it now. So okay.
fending for something to eat, leaving young'uns being sends. But after a while, father came back home. What's going on here? He asked. Who has aimed thee, childer? You look like you'd seen a ghost.
What? Wow. All right, so this I get, but the end of this is it's interesting. It's just oh my goodness, this is like crazy.
Came back home. What's going on here? He asked.
So I get that. What's going on? What's going on here? I that I understood that the translation down there, even though it says what's happened here, what's going on here, that I can get that. That's not that hard to take, and you know what I'm saying.
Who has aimed thee, childer? You look like you'd seen a ghost.
It just sounds so different, and I think that's part of my problem. I think that the hearing with the visual down there, and then seeing the way everything is spelt up at the top. I think that's part of the issue, at least for me. And here, I'll take and woohoo. Let's see. And I'll take and bring myself down some. That's what I'll bring myself down, and I'll bring myself down here because this is just. I get what's being said, but hearing it while reading this down here instead of reading the way it's done up, or reading the way it's done up here and then seeing how it's down here, the hearing, reading, and seeing sometimes aren't matching up for me, and I think that's the issue I'm having. Maybe I'm a little bit slow. I don't know, but that's definitely just to hear it come out that way. It's just
Who has aimed thee, childer? You look like you'd seen a ghost. Oh, father, they said, there were a great-looking creator who can be his own just now. It were right fierce and flaysome. He glared into his nest with his great big een and almost flayed us to death. Glared into his nest with his great big een.
hold on.
Great-looking creator who can be his own just now. It were right fierce and flaysome. He glared into his nest with his great big een and almost flayed us to death. Hold on, I'm noan having that, said father. I'm barn after him. Don't worry this ends now, childer. But after his short speech, father were off after creator.
It reads so much because I understand what's being said. It's taking it took a minute just for connections, but still, it's one thing hearing it, it's another thing reading it while you're hearing it, and then seeing the translation down at the bottom of the page and be like, okay, so it sounds like it's, it. I can see where this is from the speech. This up here and this down here, though, the everything is so different from up there from down here. It takes having to hear, at least for me, hearing and now taking and doing it that way. It makes all right, cool. I get what's being said, and it actually sounds like it. It actually sounds like what's being said down here. Of course, not quite like we say it around here in the States, but then again, we've done established there. That's we don't exactly, yeah, that's way different.
Short speech, father were off after creator. When he went round Nook, there were a lion sauntering along road yonder, but he didn't scaddle wren. He loped onto the lion's rig and started gieing him what for.
Okay, hearing that and reading that sounds nothing like what the heck it reads, nor like it sounds. That sounds exactly like that reads like it sounds, but that sounds and reads nothing like what's on the bottom part of this. What?
The lion's rig and started gieing him what for. Now then, what business has to get coming round me arse and frightening me bairns out of the skins, eh? He bellowed. Lion didn't bat an eyelid, and he just kept walking. This didn't half mak Glammy Loudmouth more vexed. Tha's got no business being there, and I can tell thee that for nought. I don't really want to have to do it, he says while lifting his leg, but I could break thee rig with no but a stomp. And with that, Father Wren loped off at Lion, and fleed home back to his nest. There you go, childer. He'll not be doing it again. I han't half played wi' him, and it fair gat him telled. Yond lion we'n't ever be coming round here no more.
Sample text.
Some of that sounded well enough to be like I'm reading down at the bottom. Even if it doesn't line up at the top, I can make the heads or tails of it. Some of that I couldn't make heads or tails listening and then reading at the bottom because it did not sound like what was at the bottom at all. And it sure as heck didn't read that way. Somebody around here, somebody in the States could legit, they learned that dialect. They could take and do code. Nobody around here know what the world is going on. I promise you.
Text.
Thought legs peaked on a scar aboont fold gill. A druft nearses a tweant fells. A yammer rakes out it at moonlit sky. And cloises lig tanged it fold creek's glare.
How is a yammer a howl? Yammer is something that a woman does whenever she's at the beauty shop. Howl, wind howls and so do wolves. Yammer? Bruh, this is some of that I was talking, like, literally, I might have to learn this so I could take and become a criminal mastermind, just take and put everything out in Yorkshire. Because Barney Fife ain't going to figure out what you're saying. I promise you that one.
Thought legs peaked on a scar aboont fold gill. A druft.
Okay, so Thorpe, a village, Thorpe. But even that, Jesus.
Aboont fold gill. A druft nearses a tweant fells. A yammer rakes out it at moonlit sky. And cloises lig tanged it fold creek's glare.
I think I could listen to it 100 times on here, but that would make this video too long. It's just... How often, let me know in the comments, how often do y'all run into people still that talk like this? Because this doesn't sound like, it sounds like it's got English, it sounds English, but it doesn't. Like, it sounds like a complete different language. And for it to take and be, number one, in the UK, number two, for it to be that different on some things, it's absolutely stunning. Like, it's, my goodness.
What's yar lad been up to tonight? Nay, 'twant thar lad. 'Twa yar lad that were laking about down bit Laith Doer yonder. He was scrimming on doer, and he fell down for it doer into muck and at his hand. I skenned down to yon there cloice as he felled, and I saw he'd made a right mullock of him sen. He were cake for he had to tour, he mud, and by gum, it were a grand seat. Well, he won't be doing that again.
So I got the grand sight, and I think that's the only thing I got out of that. Between that, he won't be doing that again. Everything else, it didn't really sound that much like it did down, other than the saw. Like, this is just, oh my god.
Hear all, see all, say nout. Ate all, sup all, pay nout. And if there ever does out for nout, all let's do it for this end.
Sorry for squeaking in the chair, number one. Number two, holy Jesus. That's wild, because there's a lot of that with some of the, like, the small, that the story with the wrens in the barn. Part of that, for me, at the beginning, the first thing and a half, I just, for whatever reason, I was reading the top and it wasn't exactly, because the words were different. So I was just, my mind wasn't connecting what I was hearing with what was at the bottom, because that you can make what a what taking a reading that and hearing that, because it sounded enough alike to take and know what it was saying. But then once you got past that, past the first two parts of that, where it's talking about the lion and everything, like the dad flying off to the lion, it's just so crazy. Some of the, it sounds like an entirely different language at parts, like entirely different. That's oh my goodness, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I'm gonna be diving more into, if I can find it, more Yorkshire stuff. I just find this specific dialect right here so incredibly interesting, crazy. That being said, y'all be good to each other. Love yourselves. Peace.